Hi guys, hold on for a second. Before we proceed to the video, I have something very important to tell you. Professor Jon V. Kofas has published his new book in collaboration with Little French Media, and the title of the book is Neoliberalism, Inequality, and Authoritarianism. This book details how neoliberalism impacts the geopolitical economy in the 21st century. You can buy it from Amazon and the link is in the description. Thank you. Now let's proceed to the video.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to an overview on the role of Israel, the relations rather of Israel with the United Nations. This is a summary of a longer video which I have done on this topic, and I would like to invite you to take a look at it. The issue of the relations between Israel and the United Nations has to do with the structure of the United Nations, namely the division between the General Assembly and the Security Council, and the fact that the five permanent members in the Security Council each has veto power. And one of those, the United States, of course, mainly, but not exclusively, has used the veto power historically to block resolutions that would result in action toward bringing Israel in line with international norms and international law. One reason for doing this video is that in the recent, the last couple of weeks, Israel's incursion into Lebanon on the using the pretext of eliminating Hezbollah, which is a proxy of Iran, um, although the bombings have been in Beirut, by the way, and although the casualties have been by and large civilian, as well as, by the way, United Nations peacekeepers along the border of Lebanon in the southern region and Israel. Israel has insisted that the only concern they have is Hezbollah, when in fact this is a very clear case based on what has happened so far of targeting Lebanon and endeavoring to engage in what would amount to a regime change by dividing the people of Lebanon, which is already a very tense and difficult situation. Um, by the way, considering that historically Lebanon has been ethnically, religiously divided, and there's a delicate balance of power, especially with Hezbollah, which is Shia and is in fact linked to Iran. So what we have here is a very delicate situation indeed. However, beyond that, the question is why has the United Nations General Assembly and the United Nations Human Rights Council issued more reprimands and condemnations against Israel than most of the other countries of the world, namely 195 member nations of the United Nations combined. There is something wrong when one country, which is a tiny country, by the way, about just under 6 million people, has earned the wrath of the United Nations uh, Human Rights Council and the General Assembly, while you have basically another 194 countries that have not earned as much condemnation combined as Israel all by itself. The other issue here is the role of the United States and the cover that it provides for Israel using the United Nations as it always wanted to since its founding by the United States, by the way, and its junior partner, the United Kingdom, in 1945, essentially an international instrument to manage its geopolitical interests globally. This video, which is about an hour and 10 minutes or so, deals with many of the issues from a historical perspective, all the way down to the current crisis with the United Nations interim force in Lebanon, the so called UNIFIL. The acronym for that is UNIFIL. And there have been headlines about UNIFIL because it has divided even allies of Israel, including, by the way, Italy and France, on this issue, because targeting United Nations personnel is a war crime. It's a war crime. It's a violation of international law to have United Nations personnel targeted by any defense force, any army, on the pretext that somehow they are pro Hezbollah and they're shielding Hezbollah, when in fact they have been there since Israel invaded in 1978, I believe in March 1978, and they have stayed there. And most of them, by the way, are Italian, and they're from Italy and India. And Italy specifically has raised serious concerns about what Israel is doing. My contention, the thesis of my video, and I'll tell you this and then you can watch the rest, is that basically the United Nations has been an impotent instrument of the, intended to maintain global peace, promote social justice, promote human rights, but the fact is promote lessening of inequality on a world scale and so forth, environmental justice. But the fact is, none of that has really come to fruition. We can see this today because we have two wars, one in Ukraine, one in Israel. The one in Israel, of course, a genocidal war based on the rulings of the two bodies of the United Nations, namely the International Criminal Court and the International Court of Justice, as well as United Nations rapporteurs who have given official statements before the General Assembly as well as the Security Council on this matter. I invite you to take a look at this video. It deals with a lot of different issues on this very complex matter. On the surface, it might seem that it's just Israel, on the one hand, accusing the United Nations of anti Semitism. On the other hand, the United Nations arguing that has nothing to do with anti Semitism. They're just doing their job. Thank you for watching, and by all means, take a look at the video. Thank you.